Hello friends, Cameron Moss here. I want to talk to you today about how to get the most out of your ketone experience when you're looking for fat loss. So if you're looking for fat loss, you've made a great decision by adding exogenous ketones into your day, because you're going to notice a number of benefits, from appetite suppression to just a lack of cravings when it comes to carbs and sugar. You're going to have more of an awareness of when you're hungry or when maybe you're just thirsty. But I want to give you a couple of my favorite tips to ensure that you really start to see those fat loss benefits sooner than later. So tip number one is to take a picture. Now the reason I say that is because this is a different kind of fat loss than you've ever experienced. If you don't take a picture and you don't see the scale move, you're probably gonna miss it, because a lot of people, due to the fact that it's actually fat loss and you're preserving muscle, you may not see a change in the scale. I personally went down 3 pant sizes in my first 12 weeks. However, the scale actually went up a couple pounds. So I'm so grateful that I was able to notice the change in my clothes and not just pay attention to the scale, because remember, the scale can be our own worst enemy. So go ahead and push the scale to the side. Let's focus on what you notice in your clothing and also in those pictures that you're gonna take. So that's my first tip, is take a picture. The next tip is we want to be very aware of what the foods are that we're putting in our body. Now, I want to encourage you not to stress to the point where you're actually creating more cortisol. I have definitely seen that happen. So remove the stress out of it, and remember that when we stress, it actually works against us. However, I just want you to make note of what it is that you're eating. The reason that I say that is because oftentimes we're consuming more calories than we're actually burning, and it's important when you're working in the fat loss area that you are focusing on that calorie deficit, that you're not consuming too many more calories than what you're actually burning. So we want to be aware of what we're eating. I know a lot of people are used to eating multiple meals a day. A lot of people are used to starting their day with what they consider healthy, which is going to be something like oatmeal in the morning, and then maybe a sandwich on wheat bread for lunch, and then for dinner, maybe some brown rice and sweet potato and a piece of meat. And while that wouldn't be like absolutely, we're not going to throw you completely off what you're used to, but I am going to encourage you to think of this a little bit differently than the standard healthy diet, okay? With ketosis, you actually don't require as much food. When you consume your ketones, and these ketones actually go in as cellular fuel, your cells are fulfilled. They are filled with energy. They have what they need to get you through the next number of hours. So you don't have to eat so many times a day and with a snack in between. So I'm gonna encourage you to do only 2 meals a day at the most. Now, what's recommended for fat loss is gonna be that you wake up in the morning, you have some water, and then you have your keto nap, whatever flavor you choose. If you're a coffee drinker, you can have your coffee. Make sure that you're not putting sweetened creamer in it. Make sure if you are using a sweetener that it's one that is not containing chemical sweeteners. So it's very important that you check the labels on that. I do have a list of sweeteners that would be okay to use over on my blog page at flketo.com. So you want to make sure that you're using a sweetener that is either erythritol or swerve. If you're using stevia, make sure it doesn't contain sugar. A lot of the stevias do contain sugar. So you want to make sure that you really look at what that sweetener is that you're using. And then if you just want to lighten it up with some cream, you could do a splash of heavy cream, and that should get you right to where you want to be. So what you would do is you would have your water or your coffee, and then you would have your keto nat, and then we're gonna try to wait until somewhere between 11 and 1 for your first meal. Now you should notice the appetite suppression. However, if you do feel hungry, try to drink extra water, because sometimes that can be confused, that hunger can be confused for just thirst. So we wanna go ahead and kind of challenge our brain a little bit and go, wait a minute, let's see first if maybe we're thirsty and not really hungry. So go ahead and have some water. Try to get through. What this is gonna do is it's gonna keep you in an intermittent fasting window. So if you have your last meal somewhere around, let's say 8 o'clock at the latest, and then you have your first meal in the morning, that would already get you to that 12-hour period, but we want to try to push it to 16 and see if we can't get you somewhere between that 11 and 1 range for your first meal. Now, when you have your first meal, you're just going to have something light, something clean. You could maybe have a little bit of protein and a salad or some veggies. You could have let's say a ham roll with pickle and cream cheese. You could have a piece of meat and some veggies. You could have wings. You could have a burger without the bread. Basically, we want to eliminate the 5 whites, which are bread, rice, pasta, potato, and sugar. So essentially anything that's not in that category would be okay for you to have for lunch. Now, we do know that some of our veggies contain a higher number of carbs, but we're not going to worry too much about that right now starting out. We're just going to focus on not having those really heavy white carbs, okay? So you'll have your lunch, and then midday, if you're going to use your second keto, if you're doing the 2 a day, go ahead and have your non-caffeine keto for a midday snack. Now, you're gonna notice that that is gonna be a great way to get you through the second part of your day. You're gonna feel awesome. You're not gonna be starving at dinner time. You're not gonna crave the sweets for dessert in the evening. And you're also gonna wake up feeling great the next day. So if you had your midday keto nat, non-caffeine, or if caffeine doesn't bother you at all, you can go ahead and have a caffeinated version. And then for dinner, we're just gonna have something clean. Again, we're gonna stay away from the 5 whites, being bread, rice, pasta, potato, and sugar. You're gonna have a similar meal to what you had for lunch. If you're making a meal for your family, you can just pull out what you need for you, leaving the carbs to the side and focusing on just having a protein and a salad or a veggie, and that should really take care of you. It should fulfill your needs, it should fulfill your hunger, and you're gonna feel really good just eliminating those carbs. So that is what your day would look like. If you feel hungry in between and you wanna have a snack, I do have a keto-friendly snack list that we can share with you. Just reach out and we'll send that to you, or you can grab it off the blog at flketo.com. But just to give you an idea of what that could look like, it could be maybe a little bit of lunch meat, a little bit of cheese. We don't wanna go too crazy on the dairy. You could do a handful of nuts. You could do maybe some celery, you could do some carrots, some clean raw veggies. But the most important thing is just to make sure you have something on you so that if you are away from home, if you are at work or you're out on the road, that you're not tempted to stop and grab a snack that would not be approved. Now, fortunately, most places that you can pop into if you're on the road now have keto or low carb friendly options. So if you do have to stop and grab something, just grab like maybe a meat stick, maybe a cheese stick, something clean, maybe an egg. An egg is a great thing to have. Whether it's for breakfast or midday, if you like hard-boiled eggs, just have some of those on hand. Those are a really great snack. And then we're gonna just evaluate what's taken place each week. It's important that you keep track, especially if you have a weight loss goal and you wanna hit that goal sooner than later. We wanna really focus on what it is that you're consuming. Are you seeing a decline? Are you seeing that your clothes are fitting looser? Are you seeing a change in your photos each week? Remember, we store fat all over, and men and women store fat differently. So you may be looking for the fat loss in one area, and you may completely miss the fact that you've gone down a whole belt loop, or you've gone another clip on your bra because you're losing fat from the areas that we don't really think about as much. Many people will notice in their face, in their neck, in their chest area, we store fat all over. So as our body is in a state of ketosis and it's actually starting to burn the fat all over, again, it's gonna look different than, most likely, than any fat loss that you've experienced in the past. Now, if you need help with list of food ideas, just reach out. We'll provide that to you. And there's also some handy keto calculators. If you're going towards more of the keto way of eating and you want to follow a strict keto diet, whether it's for medical reasons or if you just need more of that regimented plan, you can use a keto calculator to figure out exactly how many macros you need and the whole breakdown of what you need in your day. However, it is not completely necessary. A lot of people do really great with just a low carb and being mindful of what they're eating, being mindful of what they're drinking. If you're drinking any kind of diet soda or even some of the the sparkling waters can contain some of those chemical sugars, so that can completely hinder your weight loss, your fat loss. So be very, very aware. Make sure you're looking at the labels, you're looking at the ingredients. We don't want to use anything that contains sucralose or anything like that, because that will actually hinder the fat loss that you're looking for. So those are some of my tips for getting started. I hope that helps. Please keep in touch. Let's communicate weekly with your keto coach to look over your week and see what you noticed, and ensure that each week you're seeing more and more working you towards the results that you desire. Take care. We'll talk soon.